Welcome back to Backroom Convos. I'm your host with the most, Lesego M report, aka Future Short. And maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Listen, if you're a fan of port, stay tuned because you might like what we're cooking. And the song of the day is Don't Pass a Missa made by DJ Speed Stop featuring Stilo Magolide and Okmalumekoolkat. I forgot the young dude name. There's another young dude who's also a part of the track. I forgot his name. Young Serino's a part of that. I think he's a producer or something. So I've been bumping this song. This week I've been on the grind, going heavy. I know yesterday I felt a bit down with everything that was happening, and I came in and yesterday's event was supposed to be about something else, but it ended up taking a turn and it took because, that, like, even I didn't expect to, but I could have taken that turn, but, it was necessary because, we had to touch on, like, the suicide spike in our country because of, like, matric results and people who don't make it because of that, I just had to say that, and it seemed more relevant in that time to say whatever it said. So I'm not complaining that that episode aired yesterday. I think one of the reasons that we are having an episode on a Saturday night is because the episode that was intended to be released yesterday wasn't recorded, and I felt that maybe we need to release an extra episode to make up for the time lost yesterday, where we were supposed to be talking about, what really happened, transpired, or like why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. And, I'm grateful that I handled the situation the way I did. Very proud of myself. So, yeah. So, I did say, the song of the day is Don't Pass a Missa Me. It was released 2023. The song is 2 minutes, 49 seconds long, and current visits at 86,515 on Spotify alone. Not a lot of people are bumping this, but a lot of the artists that are featured here underrated. Okmalumkoolkat is underrated. And one thing again about Okmalumkoolkat that I want us to talk about, I've realized that a lot of the songs that Okmalumkoolkat has been a part of, or the dance or the lingo, like he's been a part of the culture for the most part. He's been a part of the culture, but he's never received credit for coming up with those dance moves. Remember the dance move? Those dance moves used to slap. There's a dance move he used to do back in the day in Namanto Bazan. I think he also had that dance move. I had a friend in high school by the name of Siabonga Jordan. He used to like that a lot because in school back then, when those songs came out, hip hop was still big back then. So, Okmalumkoolkat, it had like swag, man. Even the dance was different. The lingo was different. I think a lot of the kids now, like how they speak, the English, that spiced up, like anyway type of English. It was inspired by people like Okmalumkoolkat, because at the time I don't remember anybody speaking like Okmalumkoolkat. And nowadays I see a lot of kids speaking like Okmalumkoolkat, and I'm like, am I wrong for saying Okmalumkoolkat is the founder or the pioneers or the people who advocate for that slang? I don't know. You do tell me on the comment section if I'm wrong by saying he's not getting credit for that, bro. Like a lot of the kids, you can ask them now, they don't know where it comes from. However, the way they speak now, I can tell you what Okmalumkoolkat was doing there in 2014, 15, and these kids, 2Ks, are like speaking like that, but they don't know this is actually how they talk. And shout out to the Qwellers as well. They also have their own team from Durban. I don't know. Okay. Oh yeah, maybe this is the question I should be asking. Maybe it's a Durban thing, understand? And maybe there's people who are like in the forefront of that lingo in Durban. But on the commercial space, Okmalumkoolkat has been the guy for that lingo to say, yes, this is the lingo, yes, at Durban, and I'm representing it. It's like ghetto, but at the same time, it is swag, like this English swag, ghetto, a mixture. a nice mix, you know, a nice Devon feel. Is it a Devon feel or like a Gussie feel? I don't know. But 2015, 2014, Okmalumkoolkat was doing that, guys. And if you argue with me, I don't have time, and that's an opinion, you know. Do let me know, you know, because even the Qwellers, shout out to the Qwellers, shout out to Blakey as well. Like, I didn't know that the Qwellers were from the KZN. I didn't know the Qwellers were from the KZN. And if you don't know who the Qwellers are the new crew that came up, and they have all these boys. And if you're a fan of Vinny, you know the Qwellers, by the way. You know the Qwellers because he brought them out in so many events. Not so many, I've seen one. Why do I say so many? I've seen Vinny bring the Qwellers out in one event. And a part of the crowd was like, oh, okay. You know, like when the front view of the crowd is influenced by the artists, like, yeah, we just jump maybe 3, 4, 5 lines. They jump from the 6 line, 7 to like 18 there. Everybody else is just like, what's going on? Who are these guys? What are the songs? We don't know the songs. It's the new wave of the kids, you know. I know Gucci, they were, and there's another group, I forgot what's the name. They knew something, the Nutrizi. Another 2K group as well, you know, like a lot of these groups that are out there. So, but, you know, a lot of the people, I think they love the Qwellers because of the, you know, you remember the Qwellers, it's the cool, it's the car, it's, you know, it's the crazy, this thing is crazy. That name, it's the Qwellers, and like, it aligns with them, and I think that's why, as far as like popularity, if we can speak about popularity, and we say with the Qwellers in the next 5 years will be the biggest thing in SA. And I feel like now, I don't know the kids, I don't know who's who, you know, like individually, I don't know who's nicer than who, and who will be the Beyonce of the group, but I'll let you know, Gucci, in that Boyz and Buckz crew, you remember Stilo Magolide was part of Boyz and Buckz, Okmalumkoolkat was part of Boyz and Buckz, Riky, Boyz and Buckz, who was a part of Boyz and Buckz as well. Oh, Makhathini was a part of Boyz and Buckz as well. I don't know if the 2Ks know what Boyz and Buckz is. Those, but look at the people who outshined one another. Scoop came out and killed it in entertainment and became, you know, something in radio and journalism, and, you know, started reporting on all things hip-hop, sneaker, the culture, basically. And he knows a lot of this, the stuff that happens in the culture in SA and internationally. And some of the bars, and you remember, there was a time when he broke a bar down. There's a hip-hop show that he used to host with Mudi said. I don't know if they still have that show now. It was playing. It's hip-hop nights where they play international. They break the lyrics down. And he was breaking some of the bars. And I'm like, oh, like the one of the bars he broke down is the wax. I didn't know, Gucci, the history of wax. You know, when you speak about wax, you see the vinyls are wax. So when you rap, so there's a line I think Lil Wayne had. It was like, a lot of people are out here lying on wax. So you get the wordplay where you say lying on wax. So when they knit, they lying on wax. You know, like that. When the canting is knit, there's always like be a wax that is lying on wax. I don't know if you get it the bar, but he was explaining the bar. I was dissecting the bar. I was like, all this time I've been listening to Lil Wayne, and I missed it. And I missed that bar. Like, I failed it decimally. And I think my ear for attention to detail came from like moments like those where I was listening to people like Makhathini, and I was like, oh, that like just brought an entire perspective to how I was like listening, even in how I used to like write my raps back in the day. I was like, oh, this is how I wrote music then. And, you know, having this from Scoop, and I'm like, oh, I can bend this, I can bend that, bring this together, flip these syllables. And I'm like, oh, because of Scoop, you know, a part of who Scoop is influenced a lot of how I wrote my music back then, you know. So shout out to him, shout out to Scoop Makhathini. And the thing that I was saying, Stilo Magolide is not as big as he used to be. Okmalumkoolkat also isn't big as he used to be, because there was some time, I think last year, I think 4 years back, he was like, this rap thing is not working out. I'm going back to being a DJ, because he was a DJ before he became a rapper, and he was touring the world, and he's like, I'm going back to being a DJ because there's no bag. The bag is no longer in the hip hop scene, and I'm going back to being a DJ and making that bag, And people, I think Sebi's the guy, DJ Sebi. For those of you who listen to Metro FM with Zandile Hoba and all the other guys in the team, shout out to them. The people who listen to that will know who DJ Sebi is, and he was part of the YFM, stables. He was part of that, but now he's in Metro, grown, So even the Drake smells like. Shout out to Sebi. I had that from Sebi because he was in London and Drake. They were in the same building, and he was giving us the interview with like Drake. Drake is the guy. He was giving us that. Shout out to Sebi for that, So yeah, I was saying, Sebi is that guy, from Y to I heard from him. Okmalumkoolkat was saying, he's going back to DJing because hip hop doesn't have money. Let's say he's going to travel the world. And he also said, maybe the reason he isn't making money is because he's bringing a lot of people with him. Because a lot of the artists that you see now, you're like, this is a lot, Dana. Like, this is a lot. How are you supposed to earn or make a living? Whereas there's like 10 other homies from the money that you make from that gig, say you make 50K, 50 bands from that gig, you need to split it with Salene, Sakine, Sakozi, Spili, Lesego, Lebu, Jojo. Like, how are you supposed to build any day with that? I think even that was like an eye-opener for me to say, like, maybe we need more of like financial literacy as to like how money moves, how to make the right money, moves. And I think one of the books that's important for me, and I'll give it to everybody else, this book has been a book that's been a part of me or a part of my journey within the podcast, because it's been featured for the second or third time, if I'm not mistaken, The Psychology of How Money Works. That book alone, it just gives you an insight, about how money really, really works. And I think one other book that I do recommend for people who are financially illiterate, I think if you can read Poor Dad, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that book is amazing. I think if you were to start somewhere reading about money, that is a place to start. It was written by, or the author is Robert Kiyosaki. Read that book. That book has gems, bro. Like, you can build anything, literally. I know a lot of people who build businesses based on the information they consumed from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, So do read that book. It's an amazing book. So I think even so, like, as an artist, you also like need to apply yourself with learn about like the net stock, investment, money, and like, build something sustainable from like the income. You make a killing now, but in 10 years time, there'll be a younger you who's more popping than you, And sometimes I think we are so short-sighted, we don't even see the things that are required for tomorrow. We just think about now. Let me get money now, buy vape, do this, all the girls, the hands, and you forget, for you to always have that money, you need to plow it in places where it will come back 2 times as much or 3 times as much, or, like, I think that's the conversation, and we are not having those conversations enough where we're like, okay, this is the money that we are making from music. How are we splitting up this money? How are we signing? Shout out to Dix Martini because he's an amazing, executive label exec. He's signing artists. And I think he's one of the few people who are doing so great from the forefront to the back to like, okay, I'm taking artists in and I'm building them. I'm doing this A, B, and C. But I don't, like, at the same time, I'm like, the transparency, we need transparency as much as you sign those artists, and you're like, I want to empower artists, sign them and not rip them off. And I feel like for the longest part, I've seen artists, not the longest part, why am I lying? I only saw this one, and I saw the comments saying, Zace has been doing this for the longest part, for the longest time. And nobody or no artist has come after him and say, no, Zace Pampini is actually robbing me. I haven't really got my juice. I've never had an artist complaining about Zace on that level. So based on that, I'm like, I can conclude with Zace is an amazing executive. And when everybody is happy with what you do as an executive, it's because maybe you give them what is due to them, or at the same time you over give, you overreach with, I'm just giving, I'm just doing this for you to be good, or like, I'm just doing this, I don't want anything from this, I'm just doing this from the bottom of my heart. I think for me, that's what I think about Zace Pampini and how he's putting on some of these artists, And I'm like, back then I used to think Sketch, I don't know what's happening with Sketchy Bongo, by the way. Like, Sketch used to pull out some great music. If you remember the song he released, Chicana. So he had a lot of like massive hits. I don't know where Sketch is. So he's an amazing producer, put on like Chicana. And he put himself on even because before that, I didn't even know who Sketchy Bongo was. So shout out to him, So going back to the story, Saka, the Boyz and Buckz, we all didn't know, like we all know Kuti. Okay, Michelle, like rest in peace to Riky. Riky Rick was like the star of the show. He's the Beyonce of Boyz and Buckz, because as much as he's passed on, like if you were to look at influence amongst the guys he was with at the time, you'll see with the man. Riky had an impact, man. You look at Cotton Fair, which is still an amazing thing. You look at legends, it's big because of Riky. You look at artists who are showing their utmost respect. You're like, yo, Riky put me on. You listen to the kid who is gonna get man. This kid, I just spoke about him now. The Vini, he was put on by Riky Rick, So you look at the impact that Riky had on people's lives and what he got according to his life. It's like, yeah, these people are fake. He went above and beyond, and nobody actually cared enough to reach out. He gave his all that, he wasn't even able to receive from anybody, because he was always in a position of giving people the best of whatever, the best life, Ricky money, every money to improve a verse, friend Casino. There was a time when Aries was in doubt. He's like, when I get the money, I'm gonna put you up. That song that they did, it's a conversation where Aries was being doubted in the industry with, Aries, he's been upcoming for A, B, and C in the industry, And Rick was like, Poison, like, you're going through a tough patch. And even at that time, I think there was also the saga with Ambitious, and he just left Ambitious. He was trying to find himself, independence, and the Wrecking Crew, it was starting to come up, like they were forming that Wrecking Crew. Shout out to people who came out from that, people like Flame, so who came out from Wrecking Crew, So he reached out and really, like, I think he stepped to say, no, the boy is the boy. He's working with Riky. Even though the song, when it came out, not a lot of people, it wasn't received as it was supposed to. When I say that, I'm saying in comparison to piano, like none of the hip hop songs will ever reach the level of piano artists, upcoming or like, so no numbers in hip hop can ever reach that, because piano is being released consistently and the numbers are above millions, if you're wondering, So no hip hop artist, even that song, I'm not sure if it's even on like what you call this, on a million. It's hip hop at the end of the day. You don't have a huge audience in Africa, or you don't know how to penetrate, or like you haven't learned, or but in piano, yeah, big in the world. And there's also politics against how people are rapping, because not Risman, Nasty was a part of the conversation once when they were saying, Uguti, no, he's too English, why isn't he representing? And he was like, even KO was against him, Uguti, no, this boy must rap at least vernacular. And it's like, Do you or do me, my guy? We are doing the same thing. Do you? And at the time, we could say, would see, Nesty has achieved more than AKA. For that age, he's achieved more than AKA, in my opinion. I think so with him, like in comparison. So I think it's fair to say, Gucci, Ricky was the Beyonce, and so came other guys who were like cool. Shout out to Okmalumkoolkat, Stilo Magolide. Shout out to DJ Speedster as well. I just wanted to talk about, even today I didn't talk about what I was intended. I guess maybe this was another one of those hip hop conversation, like when you're passionate and you didn't prepare. Like for this episode, I didn't prepare. I'm not sure if you are aware that I didn't prepare, but I think because I've been doing this for some time now, you can't really tell the difference of when I'm having, a prepared script and when I don't have a prepared script, because I tend to like say the same things and like I give out my opinion not from what I read but from personal experience. So I'm sure, Guti, it's hard for you to tell, look, Guti, I'm reading or if I'm not reading. So, but yeah, I think maybe someday we'll get to talk about, my whatever that happened on Friday. But I know it's hella messed up. But yeah, alrighty, we'll get to talk about it some other time. Maybe Sunday. Maybe I'll release that and say eventing session of that Friday, whatever happened on Friday. Maybe we'll find a night title for that and maybe release it. So yeah, for those of you who just joined us on the podcast, I'm your host with the most, the Super M, Daily Report, aka Secret Shot. And maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like I will. Listen, if you're a fan of sports, stay tuned because you might like what we are cooking. Please don't forget to follow, like, and comment to get notifications each and every time we drop a new episode. So I'm sure, Guti, you are waiting for the book of the day. And I wasn't intending on having book of the day today, so, but I have to tradition for the podcast. So the book of the day is Trauma and Recovery, the Aftermath of Violence. So yeah, talk about it. The Aftermath of Violence. The book was released by Juliet Lewis Herman on 1992, the 11th of June. On Goodreads, the book ranks 4.5, good ranking. On Google users ranked it 90 out of 100. Good 8 out of 10 at Get Abstract. So it tells you, the head alone just tells you it's a good read. So do let me know in the comment section when you're done reading it, if I should be getting that book after what I'm reading. I know like some of the people have their book clubs. Maybe we should also start our own, so even I can read more, because I'm not reading more. I'm not reading a lot nowadays. But do let me know in the comment section what you think of the book. And if you've read it, just give us an overview of what you think about the book, and if you recommend it, or even recommend a book that you think is better than this book. I'm your host with the most, the Super M Daily Report, aka Shoot Your Shot. Let's meet tomorrow on another episode of Backroom Convos. Cheers.